This is our Mercedes 450 SL, a 1974 Jetronic parts car, and today I'm going to have a go at taking off the distributor so that I can have a look at the trigger points that live inside the distributor at the bottom of the distributor. The reason for doing that is because this project car that we're working on, a 280 SL, 1975 280 SL, also a Jetronic, is having problems running smoothly. In fact, it's not running at all. It turns over, but it doesn't run. And one of the things I'm going to check is the trigger points at the bottom of that distributor. You can see it's a slightly different setup. Obviously, this is a 6-cylinder car. The other one is a V8 8-cylinder car. First thing we're going to do is just take off the distributor cap, and that is just held in place by 2 spring-loaded screws. So you can either get a Phillips or a flathead and just push it down. You can see the hook there is moving. It's just hooked on. There's one on each side. Once you've undone those two, we can have a look inside here, probably for the first time in about 50 years. Here we have the rotor arm, and inside, often if you get damp in here or these points get a little carbon on them, you can have a rough running problem. Obviously this car is a parts car, and that does look pretty carbonized in there. Next up, we're just going to disconnect the 2 vacuum lines from the vacuum advance. Then we're going to undo that nut there and disconnect what I believe is the condenser wire. Now, you do have to bear in mind that some of these wires can be 50 years old, and when you're moving them around, just be careful. You can see here that the rubber sheath for the trigger point wire here has already started to disintegrate, but to get a socket on there you have to move this out of the way, but you might be better off just getting an open adjustable spanner on there, just so that you don't unnecessarily bend these wires here. Once you've undone that little nut, this wire should just lift away. Now on this car there's no washer on there. Next up, we're just going to remove this rotor arm. It should just pull straight off, but they can be on there quite stiffly, but it should just pull straight up. If you do have problems, you can very, very carefully just try levering it up with a big screwdriver, but just try not to damage the plastic. And then you should be able to just take this protective cover off. Next up, we're going to very carefully take out this little fitting here. It's a good idea to take off the points connector first, and then you should just be able to wiggle this out. Once again, you may need to very, very carefully, without damaging anything, use a screwdriver or something just to help ease that out. Once you've got that loose, my advice would be to retrieve the other end of this screw here and the nut and put it on that eye fitting so you don't lose it, like so. Now, the easiest way to remove the trigger points is obviously to remove the distributor, but I'm going to see if it's possible to remove the trigger points without removing the distributor. Now, the trigger points live in here. They basically slide out from here, and this panel is held on by 2 screws, one of which you can easily get to, and the other of which is slightly less accessible, to say the least. That screw is just here, but I'm going to see if you can actually slide a set of mole grips in there and undo that screw and pull the trigger points out without having to take the distributor off. Will you look at that? Lo and behold, if you get a set of mole grips on there, this is a small set of mole grips, you can actually get that screw loose, and it is just a machine screw, so once you've got it a little bit loose, you can probably do the rest of it with your fingers. There you go. Und jetzt dem Moment, dass der Mensch vom Affen unterscheidet, as they say in German, which basically means the moment that differentiates man from ape. Trigger points don't quite come out of that gap there. It's very close, but they don't come out, and I don't want to force them. So it is actually possible to take out the trigger points without removing a distributor. What you may need to do though is loosen that nut, and before you ever touch that nut you must mark with Tipp-Ex or scratches or whatever else the exact position of the distributor, because obviously that affects your timing. This is a parts car, so it doesn't matter too much, but if you were doing this on your car, as I say, before you ever loosen that or change that, you must mark it, unless you've got a timing strobe and you want to redo the timing on your car. Now, to lift the distributor out, all you need to do is take that bolt out completely. That's absolutely crucial before you lift the distributor out, that you mark the position of the rotor on the side of the distributor body. And then you should just be able to lift the distributor out, like so. If you are thinking of removing the distributor from your car, it is imperative that you go around beforehand with compressed air, a vacuum cleaner, but a bristle brush, to make sure that no grit or sand or anything else falls down that hole when you take the distributor out. It's really important to do that. This here is the distributor that came out of that car, and there's a few things to note. First of all, that there should be a rubber seal here. Now this seal is almost completely flat against here. It should protrude slightly so that it stops any engine oil leaching up into the actual unit up here. This here is the cam, the two cams, one for the top trigger points and the bottom trigger points. You can see there's a little bit of corrosion on here, but nothing too bad, and that would actually clean up without any problems, I imagine. So here on the side of the distributor is the vacuum advance unit, and the job of this vacuum advance unit is to move this little lever here in and out. And as you move that lever in and out, you'll see that that either advances or retards the timing on the car, and that's controlled by the engine vacuum. Having taken these trigger points out, we can have a closer look at them, and the first thing you'll notice is that two of these wires here have come away from their solder joints. Now that can happen when you bend the wire, and one of the tests you could or potentially should do on your car if you suspect the trigger points is just to test the continuity between the plug here and the actual connections inside. The other thing I've noticed, I don't know how well you'll be able to see this if I zoom in a little bit here, is that this wire here is potentially these two wires here are potentially touching, and once again that could cause an intermittent fault, which would be extremely difficult to diagnose, whereby your injectors are not firing correctly. Just before we move on to the actual trigger points, it's worth noting there should be a rubberized or plasticized cover that covers these wires. You can just see the remnants here, and they often disintegrate, leaving these wires exposed. Now, there is a company in Germany that actually makes this cable. I'm not sure who they supply it to. I'm just trying to find out, but I'll leave a link to the company below. Originally, this metal casing will have had a seal all the way around it to stop dirt and grit getting inside here, and you can see that that's completely perished. And you can also see just how much grit is inside here, and you would only need one speck of dust or grit between these points here to start your car running erratically. Basically, if these points are not firing at the correct time, you can have a rich running condition in those particular cylinders that are affected. These little pads here would be your oil or grease pads. They'd be soaked in a type of oil and grease, and they'd basically constantly be lubricating the cam without getting grease or oil on these contacts. So if you do take your trigger points to pieces and service them, and you put new oil or grease in here, make sure that you do not get any on these points. As I say, these should be protected by a clear plastic cover, which on this particular car has long since disintegrated. The trigger points are also known as the ignition pulse generator, and they're designed to measure the engine speed, and that information is sent to the ECU and used in conjunction with other sensors to control the fuel injectors. These trigger points initiate the opening of the fuel injector solenoids when they're closed, and each point set here is paired to 2 injectors and they open in 4 groups of 2. If you had a situation where certain cylinders were running rich, i.e. you pulled the spark plugs out and you can see that certain spark plugs are fouled but others aren't, the actual firing order, which on a V8 Mercedes engine is 15, 48, 63 and 72. If you, for example, found that cylinders 1 and cylinders 5, when you pulled the spark plugs, were fouled up, that might lead you to know which of these points to clean or inspect. This here came out a V8 engine, Mercedes 450 SL, so there were 4 sets of points. The trigger points that we take out of a 280 SL engine will look slightly different to this. These can wear out in a number of different ways. Either the rubbing block here can wear down, in which case the injectors will no longer be firing at the correct time, or the points themselves can wear out, in which case you'll get arcing between there and all sorts of electrical debris in this unit. If these blocks on your car have completely disintegrated, or this lip here is completely worn flat, you can potentially replace this block here, and I'm just going to leave a link down below to a site where they've done that, and they've also left a drawing of the exact dimensions of these blocks here, which is useful. If you want to adjust your trigger points, there is a special tool that Bosch manufactured for doing so, and that is basically a rod that replicates this part of the distributor here with a groove in it, and the thickness of this groove here matches these plates, and that thickness, depending on the car that you were dealing with, came in different thicknesses. On the Mercedes V8, for example, this thickness is 2 mil, but it also came in 1.6 mil and 1.5 mil, so the tool has various different slots in it like that. You need to make sure you pick the correct one, and when you slot that tool in here, the gap between these rubbing blocks here should be about 0.5 millimeter, and you can adjust that by bending these plates here in using needle-nosed pliers. Now, the gap of these points in the fully open position should be just under 1 millimeter, about 0.03 inches, so you can also check that using a 1 mil feeler gauge. Now, the good news is that the Bosch Classic Centre do repair kits for these trigger points, and they don't sell direct to the public. So if you want, what you would do is you'd go through the catalogue and you would find your car. The one that we've just taken out is from a 450 SL, and you would copy this part number here, and then you would just paste that into Google and find somebody who sells it. The bad news is you can quickly see that these repair kits are very, very expensive. Here in the UK, close to £500 for a repair kit for those trigger points. If you whip over to eBay, you can see that there are second-hand sets of trigger points available, but to be perfectly honest, you would have no idea whether these worked or not, and unless they'd been specifically refurbished, you'd be better off spending a little bit extra just to get a new set. I'm going to finish this video here with just one final comment, and that's to say that originally these trigger points will have been a service item. I think they were designed for something like 30,000 miles, and many older Mercedes, like my 280 SL for example, has got 250,000 miles on it. So if you have a Jetronic car and you're having problems either tuning it, or it's running rough, or it's running rich, one of the things to potentially check and, if necessary, replace are the trigger points in the bottom of the distributor.